So this video is meant to go along with page 5, starting with page 5 in your transformations notes. We're going to take a look at rotations on pages 5 and 6. So real quick, let's just review the different degrees and what we mean by clockwise and counterclockwise. So right here we have a 90-degree angle, and if I take this line right here and I move it down, now we have a 180-degree straight angle. There, another turn is 270. Right back to where you started would be 360. All right, so let me do the demonstration. Here we make a 90-degree angle, that's one turn. There would be 2 at 180. A third rotation is 270, and a fourth rotation, you're right back to where you started. Okay? Now clockwise, we go around the clock this way to the right, and counterclockwise is going to be a turn back to the left this way. So now, using page 5 in your notes, I'm going to have you guys draw the pre-image triangle ABC. And if you need to pause the video while you draw that, that's great. Or if you just want to let the video play while you draw that, that's cool too. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take here the image, the pre-image we have graphed, and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise. What that means, folks, is our shape is going to move one time in this direction. And so now when I take this, we're going to move it once. The origin is the center of rotation, and we can see that the image is going to be graphed down here in the third quadrant. Now for you guys to do this, what's going to happen is you're going to end up having to take your entire sheet of paper and turning your entire paper. All right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab the entire worksheet and group it and do the demonstration now. For you guys, your entire sheet of paper is going to turn once to the left. And now when you're looking at your sheet of paper, you're looking at the new image down here in quadrant 3. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So while your paper is turned sideways, this is how we're going to know if you actually rotated it correctly. When you look for point A, it's going to be back 1, down 3. So off to the side, you can jot down that A prime is back 1, down 3. So B prime is going to be back 1, 2, 3, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're just writing your points off to the side while your paper is turned sideways. And then when you turn your paper back normally, you'll have your points listed and you'll know where to plot them. So C prime is going to be back 6 and then down 1. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is turn the paper back. And what you see how these points are off to the side. I mean, I switched pages. But you see how these points are off to the side now when you turn your paper back upright? So then what you can do is you can take these points and you can start to plot them. And friendly reminder that you just want to label them A prime, B prime, and C prime. And you can fill those points in down below. All right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to the other slide. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of this, group it, and turn the entire paper back upright. Here we go. All right. And now I'm going to ungroup, and I'm going to let's see if I can get just the pre-image again. Nope. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually take this and we're going to rotate it. I'm doing this problem now over here, 180 degrees counterclockwise. Now let me erase these. All right. If we're going to rotate this now 180 degrees counterclockwise, we're going to move it 2 times back. So it's going to move down once and then again into this quadrant, okay? So as we take your entire sheet of paper, you're going to turn it once, and then it actually turns upside down. And now you can see if this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4, you can see that it moved from up here in quadrant 2, it moved once and then twice down here. So A prime is going to be over 3 down 1. And once again, you can just kind of like write that off to the side. So A prime is going to be over 3 down 1. All right. B is going to be over 5 down 3. So B prime, when we turn our papers back the other way, it's going to be over 5 down 3. And the last point, this was C. So C prime is going to be over 1 down 6. Our last point, C prime, is going to be over 1 down 6. Okay? So now you can see it right here. It started up in quadrant 2, and it's now down in quadrant 4. You can pause if you want to make sure you got page 5 taken care of, but I'm going to move now to page 6. With these, we have a 270-degree counterclockwise rotation and then a 90 degrees clockwise rotation. And I wanted to point out that both of these movements are going to move our pre-image into the 3rd quadrant. Right now, our pre-image is starting out in the 4th quadrant. And for this first one, if we move it 3 times to the left, it's going to move once, twice, 3 times. Now over here, if we take it and move it just once to the right, it will also end up right there. Okay? So if you take your paper and turn it either of these movements, you're going to see the new shape, the image, right here at these green points. A prime is going to be back 1, down 1. We're going to have B prime back 5, down 1. C prime is going to be back 1, down 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And D prime is going to be back 5, down 6. And friendly reminder to just label them with the prime points. And you're good to go. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that our shapes do get a little bit distorted here, because if you guys look closely, the grid in the background is actually a little bit smushed. It came out as a slightly rectangular as opposed to squares, and that's just because of the way it copied. So it does look a slightly distorted. I'll point that out. But if you count across, you can see the length of AB is still the same length here from A prime to B prime. Okay, so their side lengths are still the same. Okay, so that takes care of pages 5 and 6. And now what you guys are going to do is you're going to take a look here at pages 7 and 8. Pages 7 and 8 in your packets go through dilations. Actually, that's actually pages 8 and 9. I'm sorry about that. Pages 8 and 9 go through dilations. Okay, pages 7 is a practice on transformations. So real quick, let's look at pages 8 and 9. For dilations, we're essentially just creating similar figures on the coordinate plane. I'll let you guys pause the video if you want to get the points taken care of and plot the pre-image and image. But if we take our green pre-image here and dilate everything by a scale factor of 2, all you have to do, folks, is take each of these points and multiply it by the scale factor. So 200%, we're going to have an enlargement. We're going to double the size of our shape. Okay, here it is. That's our scale factor. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. So all we're doing is taking each of these points and multiplying them all by 2 to get each of these prime points. Now to check that our shape is actually doubled, I'm just going to take one of the side lengths, NF, and in the pre-image, this side length was 2 units long. Now if we double that by a scale factor of 2, here it's 4 units long, and we can check from N prime to F prime that it is in fact 4 units long. So that's how you can enlarge a figure on the coordinate plane. Here we are reducing it by 50%, so notice that each of these red prime points are simply half of each of these green points. Now one thing I also want to point out here is that 0, half of that is still a 0. Okay? So you can pause the video if you need to plot the pre-image, and then to reduce it here in red, that is the new image that's been reduced by a half. Moving over now to page 9. We have yet another reduction. we're going to take a third of our figure. So since our scale factor is 1/3, we're just going to divide each of these by 3. It's much like a geometric sequence where if your scale factor, your common ratio is 1/3, you can just divide by 3. So if you divide 3 by 3, you're going to get 1. 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. Now here, the measurement that we can use to check is down here in our pre-image. This side length is 3 units long, and now it is 1 unit long, and that does check out that it is 1/3 the length. Okay? And for the last one here, a scale factor of 150%, you may have to multiply something by a decimal, folks, and that can happen. And so here, if we take our pre-image points, it's going to graph here in black. And all you have to do is multiply all of these numbers in black by 1.5. That's how I get these numbers in blue. And you can plot over here your new image, and you get M prime A prime, T prime H prime. So all dilations really are is an enlargement or a reduction creating similar figures on the coordinate plane. Once you've got your notes taken care of for rotations and dilations, you can move back to page 7 and practice here with rotations. What I've got here on page 7 is I've got the pre-images already graphed. And notice in green what I'm asking for. I want you to do it for all of the problems actually, even though I don't have it listed up here for 1 and 2. But I want you guys to actually list off to the side what the new prime points would be. Okay, so you're going to fill those in once you complete these rotations. All right? So after you've got the notes taken care of for rotations and dilations, please complete this page 7. Thank you.